Welcome back to another technique critique. Let's take a look at this guy's kettlebell snatch. For the most part, it's pretty good, but there's one very common mistake happening. We call this Elvis hips. Notice this rocking motion that is happening with the hips. It's actually pretty pronounced if you focus around the knee area. You'll see the knees have this rocking motion. This is not ideal. I'm not saying that it's totally dangerous or there isn't a context where this might make sense, but for the hard style kettlebell snatch, it's not about efficiency. It's actually about inefficiency. We want to produce as much power as possible, which means we want the best hip hinge possible. The hips should reach far back, a clear, deep hip hinge, as if you're reaching the butt towards the wall behind you. Then you want to imagine that you're jumping through the heels, snapping the hips forward, and powering the kettlebell overhead. In fact, if you're doing the kettlebell snatch correctly, it'll feel a bit more difficult than the way that this guy is performing it. And that's correct. That's right. That's actually what we want. Again, it's about inefficiency and maximal power production, taking a longer stroke than is necessary to make sure we're getting the most out of the exercises for the purposes of strength, power, and building up that posterior chain. So yeah, the rocking motion, not ideal. What we want instead is a little something like this. So here's this guy again. We all know him. Notice the hips are reaching far back. There is a clear, deep hip hinge. The knees are bending considerably, but they're not translating forward. The hips snap, and then the arm simply redirects the kettlebell overhead. So it's a very powerful looking exercise. In fact, your lower body throughout the kettlebell snatch should look pretty much identical to your two-hand and single-arm swing. So I hope that tip helps. And if you're enjoying these videos, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking, and leaving a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think.